Welcome back. Last time we ended at the point where the coach was informing our boy Chen Fan and the guy named Sai that they could fight if they wanted to. However, they must not go too far and stop where they should. However, his inside thoughts were betraying him because he was still annoyed at the fact that Chen Fan called his teachings showy but not practical, and telling himself that his favorite student will definitely teach him a lesson. Before the fight began between the two, the mood between them was heavy as Chen Fan, then began to tell the guy named Sai to go on ahead and attack, which made the guy named Sai obliged, as he was not going to stand on ceremony, and in the next second he leapt in the air with a flying kick. While it was coming, our boy also acknowledged his attack a little bit, saying that he is not bad, comparing him to Biao, except for his lack of experience, and his fan of girls were also infatuated by his awesomeness in the kick executed, which was also praised silently by the coach, calling his kick the 4th level of a black belt, and with that kick alone, the guy C is bound to win. However, our boy was not that easy, as he just smirked and then blocked his kick with only one hand, which shocked the guy named Sai, asking how it was possible for him to block it so nonchalantly, thinking to himself that why is Chen Fan so awesome, but did not think for long as he delivered another kick aiming for his head. This time, however, Chen just brushed it off with a single hand, which left the guy named C to lose balance, at the same time further infuriating him as he began to throw a flurry of multiple kicks, and all of them was just all slapped away by our boy. But the guy C, not noticing his inferiority, he continued kicking with each and every kick slapped away. The guy Sai then realized that he was getting nowhere with his attacks, which led him to take a huge step back to access the situation, and in doing that, it caused Chen Fan to smile happily, saying that he has kicked so many times, so for once, how about receiving one of his punches? And after saying that, he made a punching stance, which the teacher instantly figured out, as he had a bad feeling about it since it seems dangerous, as he tried to warn the guy named C. However, Chen's punch was already coming with great speed, which led the guy named C to subconsciously block his face, to cover the so-called idle face. But it was a mistake in his part, because Chen Fan's blow landed on the guy's stomach, as if he wanted the guy to spill what he ate yesterday, because it even created a loud boom. Also, it was shown that before punching the guy, he released some of his Kai, which forcefully threw him back a few meters as he slammed down on the floor, which caused some silence all around, and the person who cared the most for the guy named C came forth to help him out, which was the monitor, the first one to hurry by his side, calling for his name in a frantic manner, since she was so worried, and the guy named Sai was busy coughing on the floor, and our boy reassured the monitor that the guy is all right and he will only just be tired for a while, which naturally angered the girl as she was grinding her teeth in fury, since Chen was the one who hurt her beloved idol student. But our boy, being the Chad he is, just turned his head and looked at the others, loudly asking them if anyone else wanted to challenge him. However, no one made a sound, since they were all scared. And with that being the case, he pointed at the guy named C and told him once more, showy but not practical. And unless he can learn real kung fu from renowned masters, he will still not be a match for him even after another 10 years of practice. After spitting some game to the now-defeated C, he decided to leave with his hands behind his back like a true Chad among gigas, and among the way he put his hand on his friend Jiang, telling him for them to go out for some afternoon tea, and in Jiang's head he was thinking that our boy Chen was really wicked. However, he jumped in happiness as they left, while also thinking to himself that no wonder why our boy Chen did not bat an eye at the guy Sai, as the guy named Sai can't even take one of his punches, thinking that Chen Fan definitely isn't ordinary. After a few days, everyone in school was talking about Chen Fan, as also multiple girls wanted attention from him, as they were surrounding him for the fact that he defeated the guy C, and at the same him, back a few meters, as he slammed down on the floor, which caused some silence all around, and the person who cared the most for the guy named C came forth to help him out. Meanwhile, we are shown the guy C and the people also surrounding him, for different reasons, however, as they were cheering him up by telling him that he is a lot better than Chen Fan at sports, study, and piano, and so he is even more handsome than him. But the guy C was not responding at all to any of them, as they asked him if he was all right as he was. Too immersed in his thoughts, however, in the next moment, a hand was placed on his shoulder from his back, which turned out to be the waste man, Yang Chao saying that he saw the C has absent-minded these days, asking him what was the problem. But the C just responded by saying that it was nothing. Really, however, one of the people around him told the waste man Yang Chao that the problem is the transfer student, Chen Fan, in their class, who beat up their big C in the taekwondo gym and now struts around in their class, the class monitor also saying that he is just a loser who only knows how to fight, saying he can't match the guy. Sai when it comes to school work, family, and appearance, so naturally he loses in everything compared to him. And the words now began to uplift the guy. See, however, his face was still showing the darkness that was in his heart, and a menacing look. He actually admitted that Chen Fan is really better than him at fighting. But he doesn't believe that he will lose to him in other things. That's right. How can you lose to him? Tomorrow is the day of the welcome evening. The final stage is yours. Give your best performance and show that boy who is boss, said the class monitor, encouraging him further. At least the waste man, Yang Chao, knew his place as he was mentally telling the guy, see that Chen Fan is someone who can stand against the big boss of Chuzhou, Brother Hao, and so what can the guy named C really do to him? But then he continued to think to himself that it was better to not tell him about the information as to not make him even more upset. The scene then shifts to our duo Jiang and our MC outside, who were discussing about the welcome evening tomorrow, as our waifu Xu Rongfei will surely be performing, as the welcome evening was delayed for half a month due to the military training of the first years. However, the beaten-up Ji walked past them as if looking for trouble and asked Jiang on whether he still liked Xu Rongfei, but also saying that she belongs to the guy named C. However, our Chen corrected the guy by saying that he heard that Xu Rongfei only likes him as an ordinary friend. Well, she would not like you anyways, the guy Ji responded back. But our boy, being the Chad he is, just said that it would be hard to tell for sure. And Jiang, also standing up for our boy, shouted, that's right. Why can't she, Brother Fan, beat you up the other day? So are you really asking for trouble again? However, the guy Ji knew best, and so he just ignored Jiang and left at once. The next day, at the welcome evening, everyone was gathered at the theater hall to witness all the brilliant performances, with our duo not being the exception, as they were also among the audience. And after some while, Jiang was really impatient to see Xu Rongfei on stage. However, he did not have to wait long, as after some performances, the hosts, who were the class monitor and some other guy, announced that the performance they all been waiting for will be underway, as the beautiful Xu Rongfei will be performing a solo dance, calling her the Swan Princess, which caused the audience go in an uproar as they were waiting long, as in the next second the stage went completely dark, leaving a single spotlight to highlight the performance, as it was bound to be good. And for the music, it was the guy named C who was on the piano, as he was dressed in all white, which matched the beautiful Xu Rongfei's dress, since the guy always accompanies the belle Xu Rongfei each time she dances. Then out came the ever-so-beautiful waifu, who was dressed like a majestic swan princess of ballet, with her hair tied up perfectly, skin glowing like the moonlight in a dark OBS, creating a bright and gently atmosphere. As she was twirling and twirling like one who dances with the wind, not to mention the cultivating poses, and as if not cultivating enough switch final and last dance, she simultaneously untied her hair, that created a breathtaking scene for everyone to feast their eyes upon, which naturally excited everyone, as the audience went into an uproar, booming with cheers from fellow students. And the creepy guy, C, took the opportunity to take advantage of the moment and quickly grabbed Xu Rongfei's hand, and they began bowing down to the audience, thanking then the process for the support. And as soon as they did, Shu Rongfei also quickly retracted her hand-do as to not cause any misunderstandings. However, it was a bit late, as some people in the Crowed thought that they looked perfect together and make a cute couple. But our Shu Rongfei wasn't too fond of the opinions everyone was throwing at them, which made her a little upset. After the brilliant performance, we were then shown Jiang, who was still praising Shu Rongfei, calling her his goddess, saying that she has a temperament that is as good as a professional ballet dancer, and also continuing to say that the guy named C wants to take advantage of his so-called goddess. Chen Fan, however, didn't really want to keep listening to his rumbles as he stood up to leave. And while up, he was thinking to himself that he was satisfied to see Shu Rongfei's solo dance once again. But his train of thought was interrupted by Jiang as he was informing Chen Fan that their campus belle Shu Rongfei was coming their way, and alongside her was the class monitor and the now creepy guy C, who was chatting up our waifu, which naturally discouraged Jiang as he thought the guy C was winning her over. However, our boy, not wanting any trouble, just simply told Jiang that he was departing and went the other way. But he was then stopped by a voice. Alas, our great Master Chen is leaving so early, without greeting the two heroes of the welcoming evening? Which naturally caught the attention of our MC, and the voice was coming from the class monitor. However, not knowing that Chen and Shu knew each other in the next second, Shu Rongfei called out our boy's name loudly, with a questioning tone, and after finding out that it was really him, she ran with full speed to our boy with extreme excitement, and our boy, seeing her, opened his arms to embrace the joyful Zhu, and then they hugged warmly, creating a bright and dazzling atmosphere between them as they also looked at each other with warm and fuzzy smiles. However, after some time realizing what she was doing, she immediately blushed and pulled herself back, feeling all embarrassed, then tried to explain to him that she was just happy to see that he was all right after the previous encounter, and our boy warmly smiled, then thanked her. But after that, Shu was just overheated by the encounter and was boiling in embarrassment, so she ran away from the situation, as the crowd made it even worse since they were surprised and discussing the fact that Shu Rongfei actually hugged Chen Fan, the one they called an ordinary transfer student, and another said that he must not be ordinary since he defeated the guy C with a single punch. But another told the person to keep it down, since the guy named Sai was already raging, and looking at his face, it was as if one was about to blow up. The next day, while heading to his class, it seemed to be calm until he opened the door to enter, and as soon as he did, the classmates looked at him with amazement, as they already thought that he was just a bumpkin. But it turns out that he is not only good at fighting, but also has the charm to attract the campus beauty. Jiang then jumped happily at our boy, saying that he was not, expecting what happened last time to happen before him. However, our boy just tried to explain everything by asking if his friend would believe him if he said there was nothing between Shu and him. But his friend, of course, did not want to believe it, saying that he badly embarrassed the guy named C last night, calling it brilliant as his face turned bright red and froze to the spot as no one could get him to move for 10 minutes. However, in our MC's mind, he was thinking how everyone misunderstood the situation. Then looking out the window, he continued to tell himself that how could he possibly fancy Shu Rongfei as she is waiting for him after all, and it seems we won't get to know who exactly she is. Well, it looks our beautiful waifu Shu Rongfei won't feel our boy's love after all. Such a shame. Getting back to the story, there were 3 guys discussing the fact that they think Shu Rongfei is having a relationship with the transfer student, as she even hugged him in front of the public, and turning to one guy who seemed to be getting some screen time, was busy thinking that Shu Rongfei is not even attracted to Chu Minghui or the guy named C. So how could she possibly fancy an ordinary transfer student? But then a blonde guy interrupted his thoughts, calling him president, and the so-called president, then dismissed the 2 guys, and while leaving outside, he continued with his thoughts. asking himself if he should tell Cho Ming-hui, as he is the national defense student who is still receiving special training in the army, and after all, he is not only the son of the commander of the military region, but also the #1 admirer of Xu Rongfei, and with that he started laughing with anticipating. We then get a time skip to half a month later at night as our boy Chen was in a lotus position, cultivating his energy which had blue aura that was surrounding him as he was thinking how his cultivation, which has been in a bottleneck since the first day of school, is finally starting to move today, and it seems that he will enter the middle stage of the foundation, also saying that his energy became denser, transforming from blade-like to a fiery form. Usually, one cannot absorb the essence of the sun and moon during the foundation establishment stage, but the void body refining arts is too powerful. If one has enough cultivation, they can even refine the void and absorb it as energy while also taking out some pills. He thanked his luck for saving a couple of small spirit-enhancing pills. He then ate them, and at the next second his energy core was filling with more power and energy, which excited him for the feeling he was experiencing, as more energy was rushing more and more violently, ripping his clothes in the process as he broke through the middle stage of the foundation establishment, and looking all jacked, he stood up, showing off his abs, as he was now thinking that he had to get some money to refine pills, and just as if fate itself willed it. He was interrupted by a phone call, and as he answered it, he found out that it was Brother Hao, who was glad to hear from our boy as he would like to invite him for lunch tomorrow, which was perfect for our MC, who was exactly looking for ways to making money, which he naturally agreed to. The following day, he met Brother Hao, who was with Biao, his loyal bodyguard, whom greeted the Mac at his arrival, and as he sat down, Chen Fan asked who roughed up Biao, as one of his arms seemed to be broken, but he jokingly said he knew who did it, saying it was an internal injury that his kick caused, and Biao just awkwardly smiled, and Chen Fan did not allow any response as he asked Brother Hao if he actually want to ask for his help for anything, which Brother Hao agreed to, saying that he has a minor trouble, and continued, "We are family, so I will be frank with you. There was a rival of mine years ago who fled overseas. Now he has come back and destroyed my place and also tried to kill me." "A gang fight?" "I'm not the police," said Chen. "It was not a fight for power. That man has learned kung fu from God knows where. He wants my life and he is very determined to kill me. So it is no use calling the police." "How are his skills compared to mine?" asked Chen. "Amazing," said Brother Hao. "I have never seen such a master. He might even be better than you." "Oh," said our boy, and in his head, he was thinking if the guy is an inner strength fighter, and Brother Hao nervously replied that the guy asked to meet him on the Lake Heart Island. "If you can help me out, I will give you a large reward." 100,000? asked Chen Fan. "No, 1,000,000. The extra is my apology." In Chen Fan's mind, however, he knew that Brother Hao was not being sincere enough, as he did not want to pay him beforehand, so he would still like to see this particular inner strength fighter. But out loud, he just replied that everything was good. In the next second, Brother Hao stood up in hurry, as if someone was visiting. He then exclaimed that Master Guo has finally arrived, as he quickly rushed to meet him, which led Chen Fan thinking that, as expected, Brother Hao did not only invite him alone for help, as some men in black robes with red belts appeared, and among them was a leader whom Brother Hao naturally introduced our boy to, and his name was Master Guo of the Wei Sheng Kung Fu School, and he is the #1 martial artist in Chuzhou. "You are hiring a teenage boy," exclaimed the arrogant Master Guo. "Won't he be killed?" Brother Hao, however, tried to convince the master that Chen Fan is also a very capable fighter, while he was also sweating heavily due to the questioning. "This enemy is very powerful. He can't be dealt with by an ordinary kid," shouted the so-called master. "Oh, why?" Then the so-called master just responded to him by first sitting down calmly and drinking his tea. He continued to answer the question. "I wonder if you have heard about inner strength fighters?" Inner strength fighters? Asked Biao, who seemed to know what the so-called master was talking about, as his voice was trembling a bit. The so-called master then interjected, "If he did not have inner strength, how could he have broken your arm with a single punch? His strength has exceeded the limits of human bodies." The bodyguard Biao then remembered something by telling a story that when he was learning the fist position, he heard that there was rarely one inner strength fighter out of 10,000 students. Someone like that can kill you before you are even able to shoot a gun. "Isn't that a bit of an exaggeration?" exclaimed Brother Hao. But the so-called master, wanting to demonstrate something, he told them to look carefully, as he then placed his hand on the table and then released some of his internal energy, which left a heavily rooted handprint on the table, which led Brother Hao to ask if he was using inner strength. Also, the bodyguard Biao was wondering what would have happened if he was to use that on a human body instead, as it would have caused an incredible amount of damage. However, our boy, as always being the supreme being he was naturally not impressed by the performance, as it was boring for him as the punch he gave to the old willow after establishing his foundation. That day was much better than what was shown. "I dare that guy to mess with me while I have Master Guo at my side," said Brother Hao happily, as he had to do some bootlicking service. He then continued to say that Lin Bao, who was the enemy of the
bootlicking Brother Hao. Well, that is it for this time. If you want to know more what happens next time, be sure to subscribe and like for more frequent videos. Until next time.